This video is sponsored by EA. So real quick, we're going to go deep dive into Apex Legends Defiance patch notes. These are the full patch notes that are released prior to the launch of the new season, which is going to be tomorrow, February 8th. I'm going to timestamp everything that we talk about here, just so it's at your disposal. Things that are in the patch notes at a high level are going to be Mad Maggie, crypto changes, the adjustment for Caustic, his nerf, which is, we'll talk about the barrels and break down the number values, you know, the flatline going into the crate, the adjustments on weapons, buffs. And remember, this is something really important to highlight. We all got to play test an earlier build of the game. But the biggest thing to really highlight with it is the fact that some changes that we saw in that build don't necessarily mean that they're going into live. Some things that I noticed reading these patch notes that are not here are things such as punch boosting being removed and tap strafing. Now, if we play the live game and they happen to actually be there, I'll be sure to update on a full video explaining the change. But there's a reason why I didn't make those videos, is because I was not quite sure the exact values, and I want to be very accurate when I talk about things that are, I guess, that you can fully cement into it. So let's deep dive into the patch notes. Sorry for the longer intro. Just wanted to preface that we'll do our absolute best to cover as much information as possible. All right, let's deep dive. So we all know that control mode is coming. We know about Mad Maggie. I'm going to do high level in terms of Mad Maggie, partly because I have a full guide, and I'll have that in the description down below if you want to see it, where we talk about her passive, temporarily highlighting enemies you've damaged, no movement speed penalty when wielding shotguns, meaning that her shotgun speed is the same as her running speed. So it's actually beneficial just to have the shotgun out when rotating. Her tactical drill burns enemies on the other side, which does about, to the target dummies was around 160, but that means because they have no helmet, it does about 124 to regular Legends from testing, and about 99 to Gibraltar because of the fortification reduction. Wrecking Ball provides speed boosting pads and detonates near enemies. I know in the test range we ran into a few things where sometimes they didn't detonate. I said in the video further testing is required. Remember, it is one in the test range and it was also an earlier build, so I want to just preface that whenever you watch that guide. That's really important to highlight. Now, the control mode, we have a full guide on that as well. This is a 9v9 mode. You have to capture 3 sectors, very much like a domination. You respawn, you get back in the action. We have lots and lots of gameplay here on the channel to review on it. So I highly recommend checking out my guide about what control is, or checking out any of the gameplay that we had on control. Now, the reward system, which is very important to highlight, as well, is to celebrate the 3rd anniversary, they're giving rewards to all players who log in the first 3 weeks of Defiance. So that's February 8th to 15th. All players unlock 3 Octane thematic packs, which is, I've noticed whenever I was in the test build, it was like a legendary skin that could be changed whenever you actually do it yourself, but that was whenever we were testing. From February 15th through 22nd, players that log in unlock 3 Watson thematic packs, as well as a legend herself if she's not on your player roster. Then the round out celebration with Valkyrie, same thing. You log in 3 Valkyrie thematic packs, and these are great. I mean, these, because legendary skins that they come with and the stuff that they have is really cool. I like it. So the Olympus map update, I'll have this in the description down below, but there's a full blog, an article. But the high level notes is something here, is that it's about spreading out squads across the map more effectively rather than people going into just one big spot. Also trying to reduce the frequency of third parties. Better rotation options in case you do get caught out to help players get around of dangerous choke points. And of course, the new interactive places and attract players into new areas, creating fresh new experiences on Olympus. I think that I really like the changes to the Olympus. The full video I covered, I am pretty hyped about. It really feels like this could be our next World's Edge if they keep up this momentum. So there's been a lot of feedback as well as Storm Point. So Storm Point is going to have a lot of changes as well. So some of them at a high level, like Prowler damage reduced from 30 to 20 and reduce the knockback force. So when you're getting just absolutely run over by the Prowlers, and they can be pretty aggressive, trust me. They increase the completion reward from 90 to 150 crafting materials, which is 250 total for the large Prowler nest. Crafting rewards are also divided evenly to all squad mates nearby at the time of clearing. They overhauled the wildlife targeting rules to use damage as a primary factor, which should help wildlife targeting feel a little less random. They introduced a targeting cap for Prowlers, so only 3 Prowlers per player, so you don't get run over by like 10 of them. Prowler den spawn are now disabled when 2 teams inside the same nest, except for a master Prowler nest at the center of the map. Prowlers are now neutral when outside the ring unless engaged in combat. That's a positive change. Prowlers are now disabled outside the ring if Prowler camp is passive. Wandering prowlers and the small wildlife nests have been reduced from 3 to 2, and their wandering radius is reduced in half. So they'll be, at least you can wrap around them, especially if you're trying to rat, you're trying to get away, you're trying to rotate. They also made some tweaks to help squads clear prowler nest quicker. They gave a slight increase to the high tier consumable drops on all wildlife, which is a bigger reward because you are taking shots. The dropship pathing, which you'll see here, it looks absolutely overwhelming. The image shows 400 dropship simulations before and after the change. So it looks like they have adjusted the pathing just a little bit. I know this is overwhelming to see. It's overwhelming for me to look at, but it is nice information, but it's to distribute more. You'll notice instead of clunking more to the center, at least it's a little bit more distributed, so a little bit more different pathing. Finally, a few miscellaneous changes as wildlife combat versus vehicles, targeting damage on focus on the occupied vehicle, and improve wildlife interactions versus electrical abilities, making stunning wildlife with Watson fences and ashes tactical more reliable. Now, there is a change to ranked. The change is that they would like to give placement points. Okay, let's cover this. Let me backtrack a little bit. The biggest thing is that racking up kills is a vehicle to get you there. Last season, they made changes that made it more flexible by compensating players with high kill counts that didn't necessarily get first place. They liked the flexibility, but after observing the pacing of high tier ranked, they saw players going more for aggro plays and just going for eliminations rather than focusing on actual placement. So the max kill KP is going from 175 down to 125, the placement points and kill per bonus. This is tuning more punishing to teams that undervalue placement. They're bumping up placement points for teams in the top 5, meaning that there is a bigger value to being in the top 5, easing back on the kill cap and adjusting per bonus and requiring 2 to 3 less kills to hit the maximum. Split 1 will be played on Olympus and will move over to Kings Canyon second split. I know most people aren't happy about Kings Canyon. That one, we'll have to see how it's going to feel, and will be interesting because I know there's not many changes on that map. I know it's not a favorite for most people, but it'll be very interesting just to, I guess, be back on the map. We haven't been back on Kings Canyon in a hot minute. Communication filter. During the season, they'll be releasing new features where players will be able to determine which players they want to receive voice and text chat from, called communication filter. This is new. Players can find the feature in options menu under gameplay and have 3 options to choose from. Let's talk about those options. Everyone. You see and hear all text and voice chat from players. Friends only. You see only and hear friends' voice and text. Off. You do not hear or see any voice chat. Okay, that makes sense. Players can also unmute anyone they choose, friend or good random squad mate. Okay. That's good. I mean, I guess if you're queuing with a random, you don't necessarily want to hear anything inflammatory. You can choose if you feel like the vibes are good, and you can open up those comms. Let's talk about patch notes. This is Legend balance. So the biggest one that we reviewed, and I have a full video, I'll have it in the description, is Crypto Drone View HUD and other quality of life changes. They added game state, ring information, round timers, mini-map feed, Steam status, and ping information to the drone's HUD. They repurposed the drone's HUD old crypto, health, and shield representation into displaying the health of the drone itself. The survey beacon markers are now displayed in world while piloting the drone, same as when controlling crypto himself. The Neuralink changes as the FOV is now 160 going to 240. So the Neuralink detection is now disabled when the drone is being recalled. The surveillance drone changes. This has to do everything with the tactical. You send the drone in a straight line. If thrown to the wall, the drone will hit the wall and reorient itself so it's facing away from the wall. Crypto no longer immediately accesses drone view after redeploying his drone in this way. Pressing and holding the tactical button will launch the drone forward in the same way, but then Crypto immediately accesses drone view. They reduced the drone health from 60 to 50, so a bit of a nerf to the overall health of the drone. The HUD marker for the drone has been tweaked to increase visibility. The HUD marker for the drone now also displays on screen while the drone is deployed instead of only when the drone is off screen. So just a dev note, Crypto has been off the grid in terms of pick rate. No pun intended, I guess. That's a Watson punny. The goal of these changes was to make his kit more accessible and more engaging with the new deployment option, lowering health drone to prevent reckless drone redeploy. And Crypto is still methodical, calculated, and macro level recon. The drone view HUD updates it's just quality of life, and they're focusing on ways to increase this high level play. Let's talk about Caustic Nerf. Caustic traps have a total of 150 HP, which we covered. The detonated traps will expire in 11 seconds instead of 12.5, so it's also nerfed to the detonation time. The gas effect lingers for 2 seconds after barrel destruction. So even if you eliminate it, it's still going to linger for 2 seconds. That's I guess that's a bit of a buff, so an offset. I didn't realize that it was still going to linger for 2 seconds. At least from testing, I didn't realize that. Now, we already have some shorts on this, but we'll cover it. The alternator is now in ground loot with the disruptor round hop up removed. The volt damage increased from 15 to 17 damage. And also the mag size increased from 28 to 30. So in my short, in the build that I had, it was only 28 bullets, but they increased it by an additional 2. It is actually at 30. This is why sometimes I don't highlight all those changes, because it is a build that is an earlier one, and these changes will continue to be updated. Hop-ups, kinetic feeder, and triple take is Peacekeeper and triple take. I'm sorry. Sliding in the triple take or Peacekeeper significantly speeds up the choke time, so immediately it speeds up, automatically reloading rounds. The hammer points, just so you understand the values, the P2020 does additional 50% damage to unshielded opponents. The Mozambique and RE45 does an additional 35%. So there is a rework for the shatter caps and bow check bow, which we covered. It passively affects hip fire in both weapons. ADS remains a precision shot. No longer able to toggle on and off. The pellet damage reduced from 8 to 7, and the pellet damage reduced on the bow as well from 12 to 11. The triple take removing projectile growth from bullets. They also reduced from 23 to 21 per bullet. So a little bit of a nerf and buff, so I guess we'll have to see. The triple take return to floor loot has been really positive, but has proven to be a bit ahead of the pack with its range performance. We're limiting the bullet growth it retained from its days as sniper to pull it in line with other marksman rifles. So it'll be probably a little harder to hit. We'll have to see how this actually plays out. Flatline has received a nerf, reduced damage from 19 to 18. The Rampage also has been nerfed, reduced from 28 to 26. Reduced the number of shots during the rev state from 40 to 34. They implemented this hotfix, by the way, January 13th to implement to the Rampage and Sentinel Infinite bug. We took the opportunity to get the Rampage nerf out early, noting these changes here for anyone who missed it. Fully kitted rotation, the RE45, Triple Take, Peacekeeper, Prowler, and Havoc have all been added to the care package, or sorry, gold rotated weapons, I apologize, and they removed the Mastiff 3030, R301, Car, and Longbow. Weapons in the crafter are the Flatline and the Longbow are now craftable for 30 mats at any crafting station, so if you don't have a weapon, boom, you can have one out of the crafting station. Weapons cannot be found on the ground, so you have to craft these. Crafted weapons come with no attachments and 2 boxes of ammo. So they're going to continue to see what this does to the loot pool and how it affects everyone from crafting, especially, I think that's why they kind of nerfed the flatline. Did need a little bit of a rework, but nonetheless. They reduced the cost of a medkit from 20 to 15, and the kinetic feeder added to crafting rotation. These are bug fixes, so I didn't notice anything about tap strafing here or punch boosting. But in the build that we played, it was tap strafing felt adjusted and punch boosting was removed. We will have to see in the main game to see what is here. They fixed the issue where multiple legends were missing voice lines, fixed cases of lighting on Olympus. Okay, let's try to highlight the big ones here. I think one of them that everyone is going to reduce L-Star impact VFX. That's also a quality of life change there. That would say that would be a buff as well for the gun, which is important to highlight. Another one would be the recolor customization. This is huge. This is when I was reviewing the notes. So it's labeled as an exploit. I don't think anybody knew that it was an exploit, but limiting the values from 0 to 255 to avoid exploits, where you change the color value to go more glowy or less glowy and really customize your reticle. So you really have only the values of 0 to 255. The reticle color customization, inconsistent in the UI colors when ADSing with different sniper scopes, so they also improved upon that. The reticle customization fix for in cases where rapidly adjusting the lighting bar can result in performance drop on other platforms, specifically when it applies to the Switch. The audio case where the R90 bug FX persists, so I've seen that one myself, so that's also been fixed, where you just keep hearing it even though you've been eliminated, or you're switching POVs, switching from one person to another. Let's see any additional changes that are pretty big. Fix the bug where stocks didn't drop from wildlife on Storm Point. Improve wildlife combat versus vehicles. They gave a slight increase to high tier consumable drops on all wildlife. Added the ability to see your teammate's survival item while in the inventory, so that is a nice quality of life change. It's pretty nice, so you know if they have heat shields or not. They fixed some weird rule on how assists and kills are determined and rewarded properly. Quitting players can no longer deny kills and assists, and reviving no longer resets damage history. I guess that's a good change because it's all based on whenever they heal. So I had to think about that one for a minute. Let me just recap and look at this and make sure we're not missing anything that is really huge in terms of major changes as I kind of talk and read through some of it. If there's anything I missed, I will have a link down in the description down for you guys to take a look. I don't think I'm missing any of the big ones. That fixed case where the entire map hears audio if a player cancels beacon scan. I wonder if they fix the when people drop. So they fixed an issue where sometimes Watson Pylon would heal for less than intended. I actually didn't know that was happening, but that's also one there. Then private matches. This is I guess if you do private events, they added a toggle to disable kill feed while on free cam, fix ring visibility and minimap. These are just little things. Again, these are the official patch notes. I have them all in the description down for you guys. I appreciate all you guys for watching. I know it's a bit of a longer video. I know I reference a lot of other things within this as well. But again, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.